Okay, now, again, as I was saying a few minutes ago, the problems that are done right now, I did with the other class. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of jump around a little bit, all right? I tried to do just like the odds, but it just didn't work out, all right? There were specific problems that I wanted to talk about, all right? So now, we're going to review kind of the test also, all right? So this is a good time if you're not, or if you weren't 100% sure, then you can ask me the question. All right, and I keep trying to tell somebody there's no point sit here and not know something. All right, so we're going to start with question number 3. All right, now if you recall, you've missed an entire 10 minutes of class. All right, here we go. We're going to do the slope. All right, we're going to do the slope. All right, now again, I told you from last week I'd want you using the left point. So you're going down and then you're going to the right. So in this case, your slope is, now remember, this is delta y and this is referred to as delta x. Delta y is what? -3. And delta x is what? 4, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure you count correctly. -3/4. Yes. Now listen, the point though is, yes, you can always use the formula. The formula will always work. All right? But there's going to come a time when you have to be experts at reading graphs also. And it's just so much easier to do that. You would know that? You can always use the formula. But I want you to be able to look at that and say, delta y over delta x. To me, it's easy. All right? Now, just to make sure we're in good shape, let's take a look at number 4. All right? I'm going from here to here. All right? Now, delta y. And this is delta x. So your slope is equal to, somebody tell me what delta y was. 7. Delta x is what? So slope, 7/3. Everybody happy with that explanation? All right. All right, before I go crazy, I'm going to turn this off. Why we're reviewing? Nuh-uh. This is why we're reviewing. People have me questions. I want them to ask me a question. Last week I said, finding the slope, you're going to start from what point? The left point and go to the right point. If I start at this point right here, right? She just asked me what I can do as far as from here. She wanted to go to the right 3 and then what? Up 7. And I said, you can do that. I don't recommend it because then it seems like the slope is 3 to 7 rather than 7/3. Slope is always rise, which means you got to go up or down. And then you have to go run, left or right. So you always want to say what comes first in the fraction, which is going what? Up, not to the right. You with me on this? Right? Is there anything wrong with what you did? No, it's not. All right? It's just out of order. And so if you're out of order, some people accidentally write on their test the slope is 3/7 instead of 7/3. You hear me now? All right. So here we go. All right. Everybody's homework is 5 through 8. I want you to make sure you got that done. All right. Now I'm skipping over to the next lesson. All right. Now, what I want everybody to do is I want everybody to focus on question number 9. All right. I'm going to talk about number 9. All right. Today we're going to graph. Does anybody remember this? X equals -3 is called a vertical line. All right, it's undefined slope. So everybody here should be able to say, well, if he's asked me to graph x equals -3, I should be able to put a point at x equals -3 and then draw what type of line? A vertical line. So the answer for graphing x equals -3 is just a vertical line. Anybody have any questions with that? So any x equals is always a what type of line? Vertical. Any y equals is a what? Horizontal. So they're also asking me to graph what? Y equals 5. So graphing y equals 5, you go to y equals 5, and then you're going to draw what? Horizontal line. Everybody in here should be good. Anybody have any doubts about that? Easy, easy, easy. Everybody happy? All right. So now what I want to do is I want to drop down now, and we're going to do question number 12. All right. Now, we're going today learn how to graph using the slope and y-intercept. All right. That's the easiest form. All right. Last week we graphed by using the intercepts, and we graphed by using a table. Now I've got one more method. Graph using the slope and y-intercept, which is the easiest, which is how everybody does it. But I had to show you the other techniques because that occurs on standardized tests as well. All right, so you have to know all options. All right, first thing is I want you to write down on your paper y equals mx plus b. And I want you to be able to tell me that the letter M obviously stands for what? Slope. Very good. Because I've been writing M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Everybody good on that? So your M is your slope. And what do you think B is? That's correct. B is your y-intercept. Now, your y-intercept is a point. Your slope is a ratio. All right? So your y-intercept is always graphed as 0b. All right? So if you had to do step number 1, all right, your first thing you do is you put it in the right format. Y equals mx plus b. Step 2 is to plot the y-intercept. 3, you use slope to find a second point. And then 4th, you draw the line. All right, now that seems like a complicated thing, but listen, you don't have to write that out. It's so easy. I promise you. After I do 5 or 6 problems, that'll be super easy for you. Super, super easy. I really kind of don't even want you memorizing. I'm just telling you for your own benefit. All right? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to look at the equation x minus y equals 3. Does everybody see that? Do I have it in the right format? And the answer is no, because it's not y equals. Is everybody good with that? So now what I'm going to do is I need to move the x to the other side. If I move the x to the other side, it becomes what? Negative. So now I want you to write down negative y equals negative x plus 3. The negative in front of the y just means to do what to all signs? Change all signs. So in this case, you would say y is equal to x minus 3. Y is equal to x minus 3. Is everybody happy with that? All right. Now, kind of tricky here. What number's in front of the x? 1. Thank you. All right. So in this case, what is m? 1 over what? Good. 1 over 1. B is a point. We say 0, comma, negative 3. Is everybody happy with that? 0, comma, negative 3? Y-intercept. Just, it's the y-intercept. The number after the x is the y-intercept. Right? Now we're going to graph this. All right? So here we go. So I'm graphing 0, negative 3. So everybody graph 0, negative 3. And then I have to do what? From there, I use the slope. What's the slope? So I go from there, what? Up 1, over 1. Is everybody happy with that? And then guess what I can do from there?
Draw a line.
You can draw the line.
Very nice.
That's all there is to it, guys. Simple.
Pretty good.
All right? So again, you got to put it in y equals mx plus b. Then you got to tell me what the slope and the y-intercept is. Plot the y-intercept, use the slope to find the second point.
We're the slope. Which part of the equation is that?
Are you not seeing the m?
Oh, but I didn't understand how you got that.
Well, I don't. Do you not understand this equation?
Apparently not.
But I'm saying, I went from here to here to here. You have to tell me what you don't understand.
So the slope is just the one, the x.
The slope is the number in front of the x.
Okay, so then the y is not behind it.
The y-intercept is yes. All right? Now I don't want you guessing. That's a fact. Those are the things you have to know in order to be successful. You hear me?
Yeah.
And that's where this equation comes from, right here. You have to know this. M represents the slope and B represents the y-intercept.
Oh.
You have to know that from the equation. All right? Now what I want to do is I'm going to look at this equation. 2x plus 7y equals 14. So I'm going to write that down. 2x plus 7y equals 14. Now, 2x plus 7y equals 14 is not in the right order. So if it's not in the right order, what do I have to do? What do I have to move, though? I have to move the 2x, right? So if I move the 2x over, it becomes what? If I move the 2x over, it becomes 7y equals negative 2x plus 14. Does anybody agree with that or not? Now, what do I need to do? Divide by 7, right? So divide by 7. So here we go. Divide by 7, divide by 7, divide by 7.
We'd be spicy.
Oh, you divide everything by 7?
Right? When you divide, you don't just divide one of the numbers. You have to divide what? All of the numbers. All right? So now I end up with y equals negative 2/7 x plus 2. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Now, what is the slope? Come on, guys. What's the slope?
2, 0,
Negative 2/7. What's the y-intercept?
2.
0, 2. You're right, it's 2. But I write 0, 2 because I want you to know it's a what? It's a point.
Yeah.
As opposed to the slope, which is a ratio. All right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this just so I don't lose track of it. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to graph it up here. I'm going to put it up here so I can see what it was. All right? Now, to graph that, somebody want to tell me where to start?
0, 2.
Everybody go up to 2, right? So we graph 0, 2. Now what do I do? You go what?
Over, negative,
No, not over.
up, negative,
No.
down.
Down. Now, when you say down negative, is that necessary? Down 2, and then what? Then to the right, we say, you're going up or down, left or right. So we're going to go down what? And to the right, how much?
7.
And then we're going to draw the line. Come on, guys, we can do this. There's nothing special. I just didn't want to do them on separate graphs. All right? Shh, hold up. What?
When we're overdoing like when we divide by 7, that's so that we get the y totally by itself, right?
Say that again. I was interrupted.
When we were making the equation to make it equals 3 over 7, blah, blah. We divide by 7 because we want the y totally by itself.
We
right?
want y to be 1.
Okay.
We want y to be 1. All right? Now, because we're great, we're going to go down, and I'm going to find another one like that. Shh. So hold on. All right, we'll just go back because I'm sorry, guys. I'll just erase one that I did up here, which we will do number 10, right? We didn't do that one yet, right?
Nope.
All right, so everybody, let's do number 10 together. Quiet, please, and really concentrate for me. Really concentrate. All right, wow. I'm just going to do this one first because I'm lazy. X equals 6. How do I graph that? Someone tell me.
A vertical line.
Through what point?
6.
Yay, good job. All right, so everybody go to 6, put a dot at 6, and then just draw. All right? Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, now listen, I want to write down 7y equals 3x minus 14. I'm going to give you about 20 seconds. Oh, no, I'll change it. I'll give you 30 seconds, all right, to solve for y and graph it. I want to see if you're thinking. Keep thinking. I want you to try it on your own. I want you to see if I'm making sense. And you're going to give yourself a check for every single step that you got right. And you can see how much you know or how much you need to practice. All right. Of course you have to graph it. So, what do I have to do first? Yes,
We
ma'am.
have to divide everything by 7.
Yes. Divide by 7. Pat yourself on the back if you pay attention at least 50% of the time.
Oh, I got it.
All right. So now, when you divide by 7, now listen, you don't have to put divide by 7, divide by 7, divide by 7 anymore because you're smart. You're just going to say y equals what?
3 7 x minus 2.
3/7 x minus 2. Because you're brilliant. Now, underneath that, though, I would like for you to write m equals
3 7.
and b is equal to
0 negative 2.
wow. See how good I am? I'm very proud of myself.
I didn't write the M.
All right. So now, from there, how do I graph that? Yes, sir.
First point you do is 0 negative 2.
I graph 0 negative 2. Then what?
You go up 3 over 7.
Up 3 and over 7. And if you can do that, you're officially designated as what?
Smart.
Smart.
I didn't do
Now, we're not going to say brilliant yet. We're going to say smart.
Sorry, though.
All right. So again, listen, that is all there is to it. You got to put it in y equals, plot the y-intercept, and then use the slope. Is everybody with me on this?
Yes.
All right. Now, because we did such a great job on that, I want to go now and I want to talk to you about number 14. So everybody drop down to 14. It says graph the equation using the x and y-intercept, which is something we did when?
Just a minute.
Last week.
Oh, sorry.
Because this week we used the slope and y-intercept,
Which are like
right? Last week we did both x-intercept and y-intercept. So, are you interrupting me?
Yeah.
That would be yes, you are. All right, here we go. We're going to make an x and y axis, an x and y table, and the y is 0 and the x is 0, and you're finding the corresponding point. All right. So the first one we're doing is 7x minus 2y equals 14. Now this should be mental math at this state of the game. If y is 0, x is what?
2.
If y is 0, x is what? Yeah, some of you do not need to do mental math. You just need to use a calculator for 14 divided by 7. Now, if x is 0, be careful. If x is 0, y is?
-7.
-7. That is correct. Now we plot those points. 2, 0, and then 0, -7. All right? And then we graph the line containing those 2 points. All right. I told you that was pretty simple. All right. Now everybody look at 15. All right. We're going to graph each using a table. We're going to graph each using a table. So what numbers do I pick for x? Who remembers? Yes, ma'am. Close. Close. Yes.
-3, 0.
Yes. -3, 0, and 3. We chose that. Would you be wrong if you did -1, 0, 1? No, you'd be right. But it would just be harder because you're dealing with what? Fractions. All right. So we want to use -3, 0, and 3. Now, again, this is practicing your mental skills. All right. So if I plug in -3, what is my answer?
5. -5.
What?
-3.
Thank you.
Oh,
-3.
no,
Stop just saying numbers.
I was saying
-3. Thank you very much.
I was saying
If I plug in 0, what do I get?
2.
Now, again, remember, because it's linear, you should recognize a pattern. How many did I add? 5.
5.
So I'm going to get 7. Yes, if you want to verify, you just go 5/3 times 3 plus 2. And of course, that's 7. And then what do I do with those points? Yes, let's plot those. -3, -3. 0, 2. And 3, we would go up to 7. Now, how do you know if you made a mistake?
It won't line up.
The lines won't line up properly. The three points. But of course mine always do. Thank you very much.